So, me and Laura have just watched the Detective Pikachu movie. We decided we'd make a joint YouTube video about our thoughts on the movie. So, overall opinions.
I thought it was good. I think there were bad parts and good parts about it. I mean, I did think no, I don't know.
Well, I mean, you said that it was it was mainly aimed at a younger audience, but that's okay because Pokemon is supposed to be for younger audiences. But there was enough first gen Pokemon as well that kind of made you feel sort of nostalgic. There was little things as well, like
the music. I like the music.
Oh yeah, the music was really, really good, and the fact that the news theme is like just the animated series opening theme, just giving it like a news kind of vibe to it. I thought the villain was a bit weird. The villain that the person that you're supposed to think is the villain, because he kind of looked like Milo Yiannopoulos. So, but like he's rambling on about how like he doesn't like fake news, and I'm like, wait, that's the wrong way around. But anyway, what else was like good overall? Mewtwo, they did Mewtwo well. I was kind of worried that like Mewtwo would look absolutely awful because I've seen 3D renders of Mewtwo and it never looked good, but I think they found the right balance. Like his eyes looked a bit weird sometimes, but
I also thought because I was a bit skeptical about a talking Pikachu. And
Ryan Reynolds, yeah, he gelled well.
But when we did it, it kind of made sense, but it's not actually Pokemon that are talking, it's actually the human being inside the Pokemon. So I did feel a bit better because it's sort of like, it makes sense now.
Well, yeah, I mean, that brings us to the twists, I suppose, which is the main twist that Laura's talking about is the fact that, Ryan Reynolds is actually just the main guy's father who was put into the body of a Pikachu. So technically, the Pikachu isn't talking. But we saw that twist coming a mile away. For me, it was when he's sitting on the bench and he just says, I know if your father was here, he'd hug you till your bones popped and stuff. And it's like, well, of course you'd know that because you are his father. And it was like, that was obvious at that point. And for you, it was, can you remember? But you were telling me when we came out of the movie that like there was a moment where you were just like, oh, it's obvious that it's going to be like his dad is. No.
I think it was just about that the main character was the only one who can speak to Pikachu, and it was all just
it's like way too many coincidences. Yeah. Okay, so lack of Pokemon battles, like so like the movie started out with him on the train going to Rhyme City to the police station to because his father has been supposedly killed, and it's like the world, although Pokemon is taking the world by storm with Pokemon battles everywhere, and this is how they became famous. Well, one man changed all that in Rhyme City. There's no Pokemon battles. There aren't even Pokeballs. And it's just kind of like, okay, I get that this is based on a manga and you can't really mess with the source material because it was a good story. But it's still, that's the whole point of Pokemon. So I kind of hope that we get another Pokemon movie maybe in the future where we do see some Pokemon battles, because that Pokemon battle between Blastoise and Gengar, and also Pikachu and Charizard to a certain extent, like those were kind of so cool to watch.
Yeah, and you were kind of like, I was hoping Pikachu would actually start fighting, but he didn't.
But the fact that they made references to like the original games and the original anime where it was like critical hits and Blastoise is unable to battle and stuff like that, it's just like, It was really cool, and I wish that we'd had more of that. But I mean, the rest of the story was pretty good.
There's some good jokes as well. I mean, I like the fact that Goldie, the fish,
Magikarp.
Magikarp turns it.
Magikarp isn't Goldine. Magikarp's the one that turns into Gyarados.
Gyarados. I like that bit when it turned into Gyarados and the evolution of that and evolving into that, and then
One thing I didn't like was there's this gas that makes Pokemon go absolutely cuckoo bananas, which is called R gas. It's got a little R on it. And I turned to you and I said, Team Rockets. And it was never brought up, was it?
Yeah,
like the relevance of it having R written on it or anything like that. So I don't know if they're doing like a sequel, but if they're not, then that was just completely irrelevant.
Unless if they're expecting people to see
just to assume that it's Team Rocket, but it's like
and no Pokemon well enough to get that reference.
Yeah.
So
I guess our.
But I think we just assume everybody who's going to see this movie has seen Pokemon and knows a lot about the Pokemon.
Did you know though? Apparently, this is canon to the original movies. Because there's a point in it where it's meant to throw you off at the beginning because they're talking about ancient remains of Mew and stuff near Rhyme City. But later on they say that Mewtwo initially escaped from the Kanto region. So it is actually a sequel of sorts to the original movies and is accepted by the Pokemon Company as canon. But that also means that Mewtwo now has the ability to put souls into other people's bodies. That is now canon. But yeah, any other final thoughts about the movie? Oh, wait, Ditto. We loved Miss Norman. And we were kind of disappointed that she wasn't actually a real character. And it turned out to be Ditto.
It was a good twist.
It was a good twist. That was a good twist that we didn't expect. But we did expect that... Well, we've already talked about this, though, haven't we? Well, that it would turn out that his dad was the detective and stuff. But, like, we saw that twist coming. But we did not see the Ditto twist coming. And when... you saw, like, the evil guy's son, so, like, being tied up, and he's just, like, behind you, and then you see, like, the other version of him wearing the sunglasses, and you're just like, oh, shoot. And, like, it was really clever, because earlier on, it showed you without his sunglasses, and then he put his sunglasses on. Well, and this was, like, still the human version, not the Ditto version. And there was a line in the movie where they said... what's wrong with that Ditto? And I was like, well, what do you mean, what's wrong with it? And then I realized Ditto could only copy things that it's, like, looking at. Like, it. Whereas this Ditto could turn into people, it could turn into other Pokemon, just, at whim. And I really like the idea of, like, using that R-gas to make him go crazy, because if a Ditto's going crazy, he can't control his powers, which means that he wouldn't be able to transform properly.
I think also the only thing that I am not too keen about it is that the main character, I don't think actually evolved at the end, because he still doesn't actually have a partner, because
he doesn't. Oh my goodness, that goes back to Ryan Reynolds. He still doesn't have a Pokemon
because Ryan Reynolds, like, is Pikachu's his. Like,
well, he's going to be, maybe a detective, because he said he'd consider that and stuff. But no, he does not have a Pokemon.
He does not have a Pokemon now.
He's going to go back to that field, catch that Cubone, and get that guy that was at the beginning of the movie that we never saw again.
Yeah. That's the only thing that I'm a bit like, right, so he's going to be a detective, but he still hasn't. I mean, Pikachu might help, but technically Pikachu still is dad.
Okay. Question time. Best Pokemon in terms of, like, how they were animated, how they were handled and stuff. You're not allowed to say detective. You're not allowed to say Pikachu, because that's a given. Like, they were going to have to get that right. But other than Pikachu, best Pokemon.
I think Cubone was quite good.
Oh, they did do Cubone really well. Like, even making, like, his skull look like a skull. Cubone, bone. I liked Gyarados. Psyduck was okay. I thought Psyduck's eyes were a bit weird, but like when you saw them up close, you could actually see that he had like white colored irises, which gave the effect for a way that he's got cartoony eyes, but really it was just like a white, like you'd have green colored eyes or brown colored eyes. Psyduck just has white colored eyes with the tiny pupils, and that gives the sort of cartoony look.
Mine was good.
Mr. Mime was good. I liked it. Yeah. But my favorite.
It's fun.
I think I liked Mulga, which didn't feature a lot. But I thought that was the bat one, the electric bat one that you saw occasionally. I thought that was pretty good. I thought the Bulbasaur was pretty good as well.
You like Gyarados.
Okay, sorry for the jump cut there. My phone decided to stop recording. Basically, we'd just done the best one, the worst one. Laura couldn't think of any. I think she liked them all. I didn't like the octopus because it looked too too plasticky. And I also didn't like Loud Red because Loud Red was a favourite Pokemon of mine in the games. And I liked the design, but in the movie, it was just like, it was too uncanny valley. Although I did like the fact that when they went crazy on the gas, that they went all dubstep and stuff. Anyway, so final thoughts on the Detective Pikachu. Like, should people go see it?
I think it's worth it. See, like I say, the older generation, but I think there's enough content for them to like it, and it does give that nostalgia. Like I say, there's a lot of music that they'll probably used to like. There are battles that you can.
All two of them.
All two of them.
One of them's not really a battle, even though it's very one-sided.
Like I say, I think. When we were in the cinema, the kids that were in there were loving it, and to be honest, that's what I think the older generation wants.
To be honest, if you see this movie for anything, Ryan Reynolds singing the original Pokemon theme tune,
I wanna be
the very best, but no one ever was. Bum 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 bum. To beat them is to catch them is my real test. To train them is my cause.
Yeah, but you can't battle them in there.
Don't battle them in Rhyme City, otherwise you're going to get kicked out of there.
Yeah.
Even though it's super duper fun. And you got dubstep in the background. Anyway, here's hoping that they make a second Pokemon movie.
Yep.
And thank you for listening. Say bye, Laura.
Bye.
Bye.